Hello and welcome to the Female Founder Friday podcast with me, Lindsay White. I'm passionate about helping female entrepreneurs be great leaders, build high-performing teams, and create inspiring workplace cultures through innovative talent programs and practices. Because when people feel like they belong at work, they deliver their very best and businesses thrive. Throughout the last 2 seasons of the Female Founder Friday podcast, I've had the incredible pleasure of talking to an amazing variety of female entrepreneurs about their journeys to creating their own businesses, the mistakes they've made along the way, and how they view their own leadership. In this 3rd season of the podcast, we're going to take that one step further. And I'm challenging all of my guests this season to take my leadership style quiz. And at the end of each episode, we'll be digging into their leadership style and how it impacts the way they lead in their life and in their business. Now, if you're interested in learning more about your leadership style and you want some of my top tips to help you lead more effectively, you can take the quiz right now. Just check out the show notes for the link or head over to highvoltageleadership.ca. Click on the button at the top of the page that says take the quiz. You can share your results, connect with our guests, and of course, join the conversation on Instagram by following me. And my handle is @highvoltleadership. My guest this week is Donna Dube, the founder of Productivity Plus. Now, Donna's down-to-earth and straightforward approach to making data-based decisions is super powerful in helping female founders create more capacity and close up some of those leaks in their business so they can make more strategic choices. Donna's calm, cool, and very supportive approach to leadership makes her super impactful in her own business and, of course, when she's building relationships with others and their teams. I'm really excited to have Donna with us on the show today. Hey, Donna, thank you for being a part of the Female Founder Friday podcast. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today.
Thanks, Lindsay. I'm so happy to be here and share with the audience.
Oh, awesome. Well, I always start off with the question about your journey to being a female founder, because there is always something interesting in the story. So tell us, Donna, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, right. So like probably most of us, my path is not straight and narrow. It's very windy and twisty. And so I started my career actually as an ICU nurse, and I very much enjoyed that type of work. It was very much, sometimes high pace, high strung, but the joy of seeing patients actually recover and be able to go home was just wonderful. So I really enjoyed that, but I found that once I started a family and had children, the shift work was a little tricky for me. Right. So I moved out of that, looked after my kids, and homeschooled my kids for a number of years. And then I wanted to get back into the workforce, but I didn't really want to go doing shift work again. Right. And so several pivots along the way, I've now landed at my business called Productivity Plus, where I am a certified director of operations, and I focus on helping people with data and measurement. So looking at their metrics and what insights those metrics are telling us.
I love that. And I think, that is something that is absolutely key to running a successful, but also sustainable business, Donna, is knowing those KPIs, knowing those numbers, and understanding how, what those trends are, what those indicators are, all of those things.
Yes, for sure. And so many of us, we have a business idea, we get started, we think, oh, this is good. And we get a few clients, it's working, or we sell a few courses or whatever it is. But then to take that to the next level, whatever that is for you, you need to know what's working and what isn't working. And for many of us, we're just guessing, honestly. We're like throwing spaghetti on the wall and saying, well, let's try this and see if it sticks. And so really by looking at your data, you can really see what's working for my business and, what do I need to do more of and what do I need to do less of, because it's not giving me a return on investment. So I think a lot of people think the data is scary and they don't want to go there. But honestly, it doesn't have to be scary. It's just answering questions.
I love it. Okay. So that makes me super curious. How do you make the data not scary, Donna?
Yes. Okay. So what we do is we approach it from a strategic perspective. And so at the beginning, I'm going to sit down with the business owner and go through what their goals are for the next 6 to 12 months And
Right.
from there, we're going to pull out what metrics we should be tracking in order for them to reach those goals. And then once we know those metrics, I'm going to pull that data from the different sources, wherever they're being collected now, and put them on a custom dashboard. So think of it like the dashboard for your car, where you can easily and visually see the health of your engine. You need an oil change, how many kilometers have gone. You can see that for your business as well. You can see your revenue, your expenses, you can see your marketing activities. We can even dig into as far as, which email in your sales sequence got the most opens. You can go far if you want to, right? And so, but by presenting that visually, it makes it much easier for the business owner to see. So there's no math, no complicated spreadsheets and pivot tables. It's just a visual representation.
Okay, so I really love that. So this isn't just about the financial numbers and data, because we have that. I mean, whatever system we're using. This is about more than that, though, Donna.
Yes, 100%. So I like to look at the business from a holistic perspective. So there's three sort of pillars or three areas. So there's finances, obviously, because we are in business. It's not a hobby, right? And so making that profit at the end of the day is important. And then the marketing side. So there's different metrics we can look at from marketing to make sure that, the channels you're on and what you're doing, whether it's organic or paid, is actually resonating with your audience. And then third is what I call operations or team. And so if you're a solopreneur, you can look at how much time you're spending with each client or activity that you're doing and look at that return on investment. If you have a team, you can also do the same with them. So you're seeing, okay, what's really costing me a lot and what's, more cost effective for me.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. And as someone who works on that people operations piece, that people strategy piece, I actually think that that's something that a lot of businesses, now, whether you have employees or contractors, that, and counting yourself, like, hello, I'm an employee of this business, whether I get paid or not. I mean, that's like a whole other conversation. But,
yes.
like actually understanding what is happening there. What is happening there? And I love, from a data perspective, bringing that into the picture, because that can be really critical to really understanding, do you have who you need, when you need, working on what you need them to work on, and really bringing that into the rest of the financial picture, the marketing picture, some of those other operations pieces. Like, I love that. So I really appreciate that you bring that to the table in your three pillars, Donna. That's key.
Yeah, and it really does help when it comes to, like you say, if you're looking for hiring, or worst case, if you're looking at firing, it's no longer a subjective and emotional decision, because when the data shows, okay, I hired this person for my marketing and my return on investment is X. That's not the result I was looking for. I've worked with them on A, B, and C. They're not bringing what I'm looking for in terms of my results, and therefore, I got to end this relationship, right? So it's no longer about, well, they ticked me off last week because they didn't do what I want. It's now really objective, right?
Well, and I think as you're talking, I'm also thinking that there's an opportunity for each of us as a business owner, right, to look at ourselves as, a member of the business, but and actually observe ourselves from that CEO space. What am I doing? What am I spending money on? Is it making money? Wait a minute, I'm doing a whole bunch of things that actually, if I bill out at $250 an hour, I could pay someone $85 an hour to do that. Mind blown, right? Like, what am I? Then the question becomes, like, what am I doing? Like,
yes,
right?
That's right. And then once you do find that person and you're like, okay, I've delegated these 10, let's say it's 10 hours a week. Then how are you going to spend that 10 hours?
Bingo. Right.
Because we can easily waste it or spend it doing something that we shouldn't be doing again.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you get caught up in the TikTok spiral, that 10 hours won't take, right? But no, I think that's really, I actually think that is such a brilliant conversation to have, especially for the audience that is listening to this conversation, female founders, whether they're solopreneurs or they are getting into the space where they have team, right? Analyzing and understanding the data about your own behaviors, your own impact on the business, and how you can make a greater impact, how you can spend more time doing the things that you love, but that also you're good at, so that you can drive business, right? And allow someone else to do the things, like go and find them. They love to do that stuff that you don't like. Woohoo, right?
Yes.
Yippee. That's
Yes.
awesome, because then you can go do more of the things that are actually going to drive the engine of your business. So I really, really love that, Donna, that you bring all of those pieces together into a dashboard, easy to see, because man, it's you can get caught up in these numbers and these metrics, and like it is intimidating, isn't it?
It is, for sure. And I think, once the business owners decided, okay, yeah, I need to start tracking some data, then they get into overwhelm, because they're like, okay, where do I start? Well, I've heard I should be looking at this, I should be looking at that, I should be looking. Well, so and so is measuring this, and they'll end up with 30 or 50 metrics that they want to track, and it's just too much. It just muddies the waters and makes it really difficult to take action, right? Because the whole point of measuring is to say, okay, I want some clarity, and then I want to take action and measure again and see, did my action produce the results that I want, right? So like 8 to 12 metrics is all you need to start with. You don't need 35.
No, you know what? Not that I've seen that in my own business, but I've certainly seen that in organizations that I've worked with and worked for. You really start to overbuild it. And you couldn't possibly have impact on 35 metrics and 15 strategic directions.
Yes.
Right? Like
100%. Yes.
You can't, there's not enough hours in the day, the week, the month. There's only 365 days in the year, and we don't actually work all of those days. And yes, being driven is awesome. But if we focus on a few things that can make a bigger impact and get those, we can always go back to those other 25 if we get the first 10 firing on all cylinders, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And make sure that those metrics that you do pick are really affecting your bottom line, right? Because we can all get caught up in those vanity metrics. Well, I got so many follows and so many likes. God. Yeah, okay, likes and follows are a thing, but they're not something you should be tracking, because that's not bringing you income.
No.
That might be bringing you brand awareness, and your friends might be noticing what you're posting.
Yeah.
But really, that's not converting.
No, right? You know what? I love that. I just had an example in my own world this week where it was about, we're not getting enough views, we're not getting enough interaction. And, as a coach, my first step was to say, hey, wait a second, like, let's celebrate what is working first, because our brains automatically go to what's not working. Oh, it's all bad, we're failing, it's terrible, it's garbage. No. Hold on, back up. What is working? And then, is that, to your point, are we looking at the right metric and also in the right timeline, right? Because there are lag in between the like and the engagement and so that sales cycle can be longer, or the engagement, right? Like really knowing what you're looking at and what is actually important, right? And understanding, like, did you set the right goal to start with? Because that was sort of my question. Like, what were we actually expecting in terms of engagement? Because I don't know that we talked about that. So is 50 people engaging great, or is it 30, or should it be 300? But what were we actually looking for? And what is success? Like, really being clear on some of those things. You're nodding, so I can tell you are picking up what I am putting down, Donna.
100%. Yes. So it's true. Like, even if we look at a goal, like a revenue goal, and you say, okay, for the next 12 months, I want to, increase my net profit by X amount, right?
Yeah.
I still suggest to business owners that they set a good, better, and best. Because if you set only a good and you make it way past, you're like, oh, great. Well, we blew that out of the water. But if you set a good and you didn't make it, or you not quite made it, that's the only number you have. So it's either a pass or fail, right? But if you set a good and your good is based on, last year's numbers and what you think is actually reasonable this year, then your better is stretching a little bit and your best is stretching even further. Now you have 3 areas, a bigger range to be looking at, to say, okay, now were we successful? Yeah, okay, well, we passed our good and we almost made it to better. Good, right?
Donna, I love that. I really love that. I think we could use that in a lot of places in our lives, not just in our business metrics. I like that a lot. That's going in the show notes, 100%. Okay, so
and you can also do the same, like you were saying with your sales numbers. You can do it with, okay, I'm gonna have a launch. I'm gonna sell this course. So have my good, better, and best, and then reverse engineer that and say, okay, if my conversion rate from this audience is normally 2 to 3%, then I need to get this many eyeballs starting on the top of my funnel to get the number that I want at the bottom of it, right? And know that up front before you even launch the thing. You know, okay, I need approximately this many eyeballs to reach this good goal.
Yeah. And I love how that all sort of, I can see how all of that connects together. So the financial goal connects to that KPI inside of that funnel, connects to what does that launch strategy look like? And then I can measure my marketing. Oh, and how did my team show up and contribute to that? Like I can really visualize how all of those pieces start to fill in around some of that. Oh, Donna, it's no wonder you get excited about this. This is like magic.
Well, you know what? It's just doing a little bit of math and figuring out beforehand. So, you know, at the end, when you're looking at it and saying, okay, was this successful? Maybe it was successful from a revenue standpoint, but maybe, you know, your team fell apart during the launch or something else.
You burnt out.
Yeah.
Like, is it really successful if you have to go and take a 2-week vacation after because you're so exhausted? I think you got to throw that one into the mix of, was this, like, did this really work for us? Because, you know, that's probably a no on that one.
Right. I would agree.
No, I love the way you approach this in a really holistic, really robust way, as opposed to what is my revenue goal. Right. Okay, so I want to switch gears just a little bit. And you alluded to this at the beginning about your pivots, your many pivots. So Donna, tell us, you know, where have you messed it up, screwed it up, made mistakes along the way?
Oh, yeah. How much time do you have?
Not that much. Not that. Yes.
But honestly, I would say the two big ones that come to my mind that I did struggle with a lot. First one being setting boundaries. So setting boundaries for myself in my business, but also with my clients. So, you know, at the beginning when I started, I was anxious to work with just about anybody that knocked on my door, and I would do just about anything that they wanted. But then I started getting resentment because I'm like, oh, I don't like doing this. You know, and you almost feel like they're not paying you enough for what you're doing. And so I had to really take a step back and say, wait a second, I'm resenting them, but did I set my boundaries as to what I'm willing to do? No, I just took whatever they gave me. Right. And so I really spent a long time struggling with that and really trying to be clear on, okay, when I'm having a discovery call with someone, this is what I do. This is how I work. Right. And finding the same from them and making sure it's going to be a fit before you say yes. I know for a lot of us, especially when we're starting out, that dollar amount is tempting. But trust me, I've been there, and you just get frustrated, and it doesn't work out in the long term anyways, because the two of you are not aligned. And so just really spending that time at the beginning, figuring out how you work. You know, if you're a person even who doesn't like to have the morning meetings, you want to have meetings from noon onwards, that's fine, but be clear on that and make sure that the clients or whoever you're working with know that as well. Even if it's your team, right? That's important. Or if you're the other way around and you just love those 8 o'clock Monday morning meetings, that's got to be clear right from the get-go.
Yeah. I think that is a wonderful highlight in terms of something that you missed, and a great way to reframe in terms of it's got to start from inside out. Like, what do you love to do? Why do you love to do it? What actually matters most? And for many of us, that's our families, not our businesses. And how do we keep that personal stuff, those things that are really important to us, front and center? Because I tend to be a bit of a workaholic. Well, no, my family value is important. So I love that. And really reinforcing that having some boundaries for yourself and for your clients is key. You said there were two things. So what's the other one, Donna? I'm curious.
Yeah. So the second one is ensuring that I'm acting as the leader or the CEO of my business, even if I'm the only one in it.
Love it.
So by that, I mean, we spend, if we're going to work 30 hours a week, let's say, I was filling 30 hours a week with client work.
Yeah.
And I had no time for figuring out, okay, where am I going? How am I growing? Where do I want to go? Where can I expand? Where are my opportunities? And so again, I had to set aside some time, and literally I had to put time in my calendar and block it off as CEO time. So whether that's an afternoon a week or a whole day a week or whatever, but find a time, literally block it off so nothing else can be booked there. And slowly you start working away at the things for your own business. How are you changing your marketing? Having time to do masterclasses or speaking or whatever lights you up. But making sure you have time in your schedule, because I did not do that. I was filling my whole week with client work. And then, when you lose a client, you're like, okay, now what? Because you've got to do some work to find another one, right? And so if you keep that time there, you're continuously working on your marketing, however that looks for you.
You know what? That's such great advice. I have she's a coach and a friend, and she talks about working on your business as opposed to in your business. Because it's really easy, and we love working in our business. We're doing this because we like it for the most part. So it is easy to get involved in the work. And when we're solopreneurs, especially, pre-team, pre-consultants, we do it all. And it's easy to allow that to take up all the space in a week. But you're right. We have to have some time carved out to work on the business and put that CEO hat on. Again, even if we are the chief cook and bottle washer, we still have to be chief cook sometimes, or nothing gets cooked, right?
Yes.
So I love that as a great lesson. And I too have CEO time booked in my calendar, and I guard it viciously. There are very few people that get to interrupt CEO time, because it's critical, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And it's made such a difference in my business as well, because, and even sometimes I might not even be literally designing something. I just might take an hour or two and go for a walk during that time and just think.
Yes. Right. Allowing yourself, your creative juices to flow in whatever way. I mean, go for a walk, do yoga, read a business book, learn something, little professional development. Because man, sometimes we forget about that, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it gets put on the back burner. Like I was having lists of podcast episodes I wanted to listen to and books I want to read, and I was never doing any of it. I'm like, okay, you're just building a big list, but
yeah, good for you for having a great list of business books. Yeah. 100%. Oh my gosh. I am so guilty of that too, because I'm like, I am a bibliophile. I love reading. I love books. I'll take any digital, the real copy in my hands, paperback, hardcover. I'm all over it. And so I do have like an ongoing list of books that I need to read. And I've really tried to start at least carving out a half an hour a week to reading. Like if 30 minutes is all you got, that's okay. Right?
Yeah. It's better than what you were doing before, which was none in my case.
Exactly. Yeah. So I love that. That is a great lesson to share with the audience today. I really love that. So the other thing we got you to do, Donna, before you came on the show, was our new leadership style quiz, which I'm so happy we've rolled out, because I think it's really fun. I think it's really informative. I think it really, again, get your creative juices flowing whether you're a leader in your business now, or whether you're going to need to lead, whether you lead clients or contractors or employees, we're all leaders.
Yeah.
Right? So tell us, what did you tell me? You are a supportive leadership style.
Yeah, that's what it came out as.
And so when you got your results, what did you think?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised, to be honest with you, because I do feel I don't have a team currently, but I do lead many teams from my clients' businesses. And feel that, that's been what I've been told before in the sense of my leadership style.
Right.
Probably I do have some cases where I need to be a little harsher, a little earlier in the process. I tend to sometimes let things go longer than I should. And so that's an area I'm working on.
I love that. Okay, so nothing too surprising, but maybe reaffirmed a couple things for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And supportive leadership styles are all about collaborating. And I know from having spent some time with you that really is one of the hallmarks of how you work, with your clients and lead them right now.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I love that. So what do you think is important about being a supportive leader? Like, what does that offer you and how you show up?
Yeah, I think what I try and do is for the people that I'm leading for my clients' teams is that it's not about me above them.
Yeah.
It's about us working together, and they have their role and I have my role. And my role is to go between leader and them. And their role is, whatever their zone of genius is. But it's not about a hierarchy where I'm above them and I'm, talking down to them. It's more about we're working on this process together. And together we're trying to bring the vision of the business to life that the CEO has, right? And so I take it from that stance. And so, I strongly believe life happens and people need grace. And so what I like to do is set up sort of like 30, 60, 90-day goals when we bring on a new person. So it's clear for them what the expectations are. And it's clear for myself and the business leader what the expectation of that role is. And then we have a measure. Here we go again, measuring. But we have something to measure. We get to 30 days and they're doing great with task 1 and 2, but 3, they're not meeting their goal. Fine. We still have 60 days and 90 days. And that's when I can come in and support them and mentor them if that's necessary, or, get them some training or whatever it is. If there's some roadblock in their life that they're not able to do X, Y, Z, but we can examine that a little bit further and we still have time. And so then at the 60 days, we're going to reevaluate and say, okay, yeah, these ones are going great. This one still needs some work.
Yeah.
And so I find that approach is more like we're working together to help you succeed.
Yes. But I also love, and you said it, you bring in some of the data, right? Like but I think that that's really important. And having spent many years working in talent management and HR, people need to know if they are performing well or not. And in the absence of knowing, they will create a story in their own head. We all do it. We all would do that. And that story normally is, I'm not doing very well. Right? Yes. I'm failing. Yes. Right? So when we have something it creates structure and framework, we're having an ongoing feedback conversation so they know, what are you doing well? What's tricky? What's getting in the way here? And how can we enable you to do things differently and be better? Because I believe every employee actually wants to do good work. Sometimes we don't set them up for that success. Yes. But I love that even in your supportive leadership style, collaborative, trusting, engaging, you're still bringing in those data points that are important to the business, important to you as a leader, and important to the team to help that team member really grow and flourish.
Yeah. And they need to know what those expectations are right from the get-go. Right? So make that part of whatever onboarding experience you have. But during that first week, they should know, okay, my role on this team is this. The vision of what we're all trying to do is this. And these, are my goals that I'm trying to reach, right? And again, then it becomes objective. It's not like, oh, I really like Susie Q, but she's not really working that great, but she's such a good person. We should keep. Yes. No, it has to be objective.
Yeah. And I'll do a little shameless plug and a little education. So, that can be starting right from your onboarding process. That's sort of what you're talking about, bringing a new person on and setting them up for success the first days, the first weeks, the first months. How do you build an onboarding process that includes robust feedback, check-ins on a regular basis so you can get them up to speed and contributing as quickly as possible. It then filters into your overall performance management process so that you are constantly and consistently measuring people's performance, again, enabling robust feedback from them and from you so that you know they're performing as a team member and you get some feedback as a leader. And what that does is it creates engagement, it fosters your culture, it grows a high performance sort of perspective. And ultimately, you're really enabling your people to grow your business, right? So speaking of, financial results, if you set them up to be successful, they will absolutely drop value to your bottom line.
Yes.
And if you need help with that, you need to call me and I can help you set that up.
Yeah.
So shameless plug, but that's really how all of those pieces, again, fit together, that holistic approach to the KPIs, to the data, to the metrics, Donna, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
And I'm sure you've seen it. We've all seen it where someone posts on Facebook, I need such and such in the next 48 hours. And I'm sure, Lindsay, you're just cringing going, okay, they're going to find somebody, but this is not going to be likely a long term, right?
No. In the business, we call it the breath test. Are you breathing? Can you fog the mirror? You're hired. That is, or the pulse test, even better.
Yes.
You have a pulse.
Yes.
Fantastic. We need you. Let's get you on board. That is never a recipe for successful employee engagement and high performance culture.
Yes.
You are far better off. And I'm working with a lovely female owned and led business right now to really help them re-engage their recruitment strategy. You need a strategy for your recruitment. You don't just pull this off in 10 days. And then build an onboarding program so when we hire someone, they're successful. But you're right. The pulse test is not a great way to recruit and hire people. Actually, it's terrible. And it will result in greater cost and expense to your business.
Oh, for sure. And just frustration, right? How many?
Yeah, like the mental anguish.
Say, oh, I can't hire. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Nobody's happy. You're not happy as the business owner. They're not happy because they don't feel like you've set them up to be successful. Like nothing good can come from it, I guess is the way I would phrase it. And ultimately, it'll impact your bottom line 100%. I've seen it over and over again. What a great point, Donna. Thank you for lining the ball up over the plate for me. I mean, I was supposed to be interviewing you, but you just set that up so beautifully. I couldn't help myself.
That's what's so nice about these conversations, right? Is that we're not scripted. We're just
No, and I actually love the way it sort of really indicates the connection. The data and the metrics and the people and the results aren't separate. In fact, they're intimately connected, and you need to have both in your business to really be a successful CEO.
Yes, 100% agree.
Love it. Donna, this has been a spectacular conversation. Thank you again for your time. I'm super grateful to have you on the show.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm so glad we got to connect and have our chat.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show today. That was a fabulous conversation with Donna. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did hosting. And would you do me a favor? If you really liked this episode, would you give it a 5-star review and share it with some of your friends? I'd really appreciate that. I have a goal to impact 1,000 female founders, and with your help, we can really amplify the message. Thanks again for being a great part of the show, and don't forget to connect with me at highvoltageleadership.ca, and we'll see you again next Friday.